Welcome back. I am back. Get serious. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Now some of you might not have noticed, but I've started changing the times that I post. Instead of every week, it's going to be every other week. So a bit of a schedule change. I've got some things going on in my life, babes, but I'm not going to be able to do it every week, but I will be doing these videos every other week. So we are going to get on with today's video. Today I'm going to be doing a little quick stress relief assignment. Well, I don't want to call it an assignment. That makes it not fun. A quick little activity that you can do if you are stressed. It involves a sheet of paper and a Sharpie pen or a regular ballpoint pen. You can also do this with just a pencil as well. So what we're going to be doing with this piece of paper is we're going to crinkle it up, not too crazy, and then I'm going to show you what you can make on this piece of paper that has been crinkled up. That beginning part, it felt personal. There was a lot of stress relief in crinkling up that paper. So if you need that vibe, this is going to be the assignment for you today. And then we're going to get a pen or a pencil, and we're just going to vibe. I'm going to show you what to do on this piece of paper to let out some stress. All right? Come along with me. Let's get to it. Well, hello, we are here again. Let's get right to it, to our sheet of paper that we just crumpled up. Now, here's what we're going to be doing on the paper. We're going to be taking a fine point Sharpie or pen or pencil, and all of the little spots here where you see these little wrinkles, we are going to trace the wrinkles, okay? Now, some of you might think that sounds real boring. It's like, well, yeah. Usually when you're stressed, you don't want something to be super intricate that you're trying to do. You just want something a little mundane to take your brain off of whatever it is that's stressing you out, okay? A good thing to do while you're working on this is just pay attention to your breathing, take some deep breaths, and just trace over these wrinkles. Now, we're not only going to trace over the wrinkles. There's a way to also step this up, so that way after you're done tracing the wrinkles, you can say, oh, I can turn this into a cute little doodle. And I want to show you how to do that. So we're going to take this in phases. The first phase is going to be just tracing all of the little wrinkles here. Now, I know some of you are going to look at this and you're going to say, that's a lot of wrinkles. That's too much. I really don't want to do that. That's totally fine. So what you can do is fold the paper in half. Now, if you already had like a half sheet of paper and you haven't crinkled it up yet and you just fold that and cut it, then crinkle it, that's fine too. But if you are just now trying this out and you're not sure what to expect or what's going to happen, just fold it in half and cut it. And I am making this a wonky cut here. I started looking at one of the wrinkles, so it did kind of cut kind of weird, but it should be okay. So you're going to have it folded and then cut it in half. And then you can wrinkle it. If you did it like I did, you might get confused like I did. And you're like, oh no, I cut on the wrinkle instead of the fold. It doesn't matter. It's okay. All right? This is just an activity for you. I don't want you to sit there and get yourself stressed out, okay? So now we have our papers. It's also kind of nice to have two papers in case you finish one and then you can have another one to work with. All right, so let's get to the other supplies that we can use on this. And here we are. Now, disclaimer, these are not all of the pens you're going to use. I just like to give a thorough example, okay? Because I know sometimes people will send me questions or leave comments about what they can use on a project. So I want to make sure you know what your options are, okay? Most common things you can probably find are going to be regular pencil, regular ballpoint pen, or even an ultra fine Sharpie, okay? Either one of these is fine to finish this project. Now, some of you might have access to something like this, okay? This is in the line of micron pens. This is the marker one, usually illustration type markers. They can be pricey, but if you have this, this will also work. I really enjoy this one. It is a permanent marker, the IdentiPen, but it's got two ends on it. So you can get a variety of lines. You got more of a marker point on this end, but then we've got a smaller marker on the other end. So that one is also great to use. Now these pens, all different brands, but kind of the same concept. They just have different size ends on the pen. So you might have something like this that's got a 0.3 millimeter, and then you might have a 1 millimeter. Now these usually come in packs, okay? So I have this one, this is the Le Pen. I just like saying it like that, it feels fancy. Le Pen over here. These are my favorite ones here, the Molitor brand, and then I have these by Pacific Arc. So all three of these are black pens. They just have different size lines. You do not have to go out and buy all of these. These are just suggestions. These are ones that I have used before that I know work really well, okay? Molitor, by far my favorite. I also love their paint markers. You've seen me use those in some other videos as well. Now, the last ones, if you want some pizzazz, and you know I love me some pizzazz, you might want to go for some gel pens. Look, if you've got them, use them, okay? The goal of this project is to use what you have. You don't have to go out and buy new stuff unless you want to. I do love a good pen. But if this is all you have for the gel pens, then use that, okay? All right, we're good on pens. Everyone's fine. Okay, let's move to the project. All right, next up we have getting started. So if you split your paper into two, just pick the one that you want to work with. If it's still whole, then you're working with the whole sheet of paper, okay? I'm gonna just go with this one over here, okay? Now I do have an extra piece of cardstock under here just in case my pen bleeds through, because again, this is just regular copy paper, all right? So what your goal is, you are going to take your writing utensil that you selected, okay, gel pen, whatever, and you're going to just trace over all of the little wrinkles that are in the paper from when you crinkled it up, all right? It's okay if it's not super exact, all right? Now again, this is a stress relief situation. You don't want to come at this trying to stress yourself out more. So following along these different little wrinkles and things should be a mundane activity, because again, we're trying to keep our mind off of the things that are stressing us out. So we're just going to kind of zone out and do something that's easy to take our mind off that, okay? I, for this, am going to be using the IdentiPen. Again, this is the dual tipped permanent marker, okay? I'm going to start off with the narrow end here. I'm going to start off with this end, and I'm just going to speed up through this process so that way you're not sitting here for however long it takes me to trace these. I'm going to speed it up, and I'm going to show you how I got this all traced out, and then I'm going to show you how you can either stop at that point or you can expand on the project. All right? Okay, we're going to go through and we're going to speed this up. So here we are with everything finished. So you have some options here for what you can do. We can keep this the way it is, or we can add on to it. All right. Now, after you have finished tracing, if there are a few little folds you may have missed or you wanted to leave out, that's okay. All right. You want to get just the majority of them. All right. So here are some examples of what you can do, and I'm going to pop the list of things up on the screen. So different ways you can approach this. We're going to start off with having hardly any supplies and just using what you've got around you, especially if you're at work trying to do this, or if you have more supplies. Okay. So first thing you're going to want to do is decide, well, what supplies do I have when you're, choosing one of these? You can do just some repeated lines and shapes inside of each one of these little sections, or maybe you just pick every other section and do repeated lines and shapes. So something along the lines of something like this, like with the Zentangles, maybe you want to come up with different little patterns like this, or just super simple patterns. So you could do like lines, dots, circles, triangles, squares, something like that, and just kind of repeat them. You could do that. That is the simplest one. The second thing is maybe you just want to color this in. So if you only have highlighters around you, then that would work. Just use some highlighters, color this in, make it look nice and colorful. You could also use markers or colored pencils if you have those around you. The next thing would be the third option, which is find an object. So you could look at this, turn your paper any way that you want, and you can look through and see if any of these make any sort of shape. For example, do you see a duck? Do you see a shark? Do you see a rabbit? Do you see a fish? Things like that. When you find that object, you end up tracing it darker so that way you can tell what that object is. And then you kind of create a little scene, color in a scene around it. Think of it kind of like stained glass, okay? So you're looking for this object in here, tracing that darker, creating a scene or coloring the scene around it. Still using these little sections in order for you to do that, okay? You could also do a combination. So let's say you wanted to do finding the object, and maybe you see a fish somewhere in yours. So you trace that fish over again to make it darker, and then maybe in the background, you're coloring in some areas, but also adding patterns in those areas, all right? You can combine any three of those different project types all together, okay? Now, for me, I'm just gonna go for something that's a little low stress. So say you're someone who you find it hard to find something in here. So maybe you were one of those people where you were trying to do Magic Eye as a kid and those books never made sense. And you're like, I don't see the sailboat. Why does everyone else see the sailboat? So maybe you don't want to pick the find an object option, and you just want to color this in and add some patterns. So that's what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to do some coloring and some patterns, and I'm just going to kind of speed it up so that way you can kind of see it. I'm just going to add really quick. These are the supplies I'm using. I have these Flex pens by Le Pen. These are the neon ones because I want to be super bright with what I'm doing. And I also have some crazy bright gel pens. And then I've got my Molotow markers. Probably going to try to make some of these lines a little bit darker. We'll see what happens. there you have it. This one's all done. I really like the neon colors that I picked. So the gel pens I used really worked well. I think these are the Moonlight. Yes, these are the Moonlight gel pens that I was using. My goodness, are they smooth? So smooth. And then, like I said before, the Le Pen Flex pens, they come in a container like this. These are so great. The neon colors, loved it, loved it, loved it. It's a flexible brush tip. Oh, I loved it so much. And then I really liked the Molotow pens here. I ended up using just the chisel in the beginning, and I just wanted to darken some of the lines just to make them a little bit bolder, make them stand out a little bit more, and I think it really worked out. So that is the end of the video. Thank y'all so much. Now, please don't forget, if you are interested in buying any art that I make, my website, www.bellagraffito.com, does shut down August the 14th. I'm super sad about it, but it is just something I have to do. Things in life right now are just not lining up with me continuing to sell my artwork over there. And it's just been super slow. Not just like, oh, the last 2 months have been slow. No, it's been kind of crazy. I had a nice uptick in February, but it's been rough. Not a lot of people are able to buy art right now, but I do have some good price prints, art prints, and if that's something you like, greeting cards, that sort of thing, please go ahead and look over there to help assist out before I have to shut things down. I hope I can come back. I really do. I really loved sharing my artwork with people. So many people bought pieces back in February. That's when I had my biggest uptick of people buying my artwork, and it was just really great. And they would send me photos of their, homes with the artwork hanging, and it would honestly make me cry because I was just so excited, and I never thought anybody would want my artwork. I'm not a huge artist or anything, so having artwork from little old me, I was very excited. But please go check out my page if you can. I'm still going to post on here, but remember, the schedule changes every other week, and then I still will have stuff that I'll post every once in a while on my Instagram page. I still want to make art. I'm just not going to be able to sell it in the capacity that I wanted to right now. So I hope you'll take this art project, this cute little project here, and take it as a tool in your toolbox to help you de-stress. So I will see you all in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.